Welcome to a brand new series where I travel all over the world building Lego. I mean, I have already built a ton of places, but each one of them had loads of Lego sets. This time I'm going to visit 3 different countries and 3 different continents per video, building mostly just one set. And spoiler alert, one of them might get stolen by a monkey. But this story begins in fabulous Las Vegas. We are in Las Vegas, Nevada. Here I'd be building the Las Vegas Skyline set. Now I've already built 5 of these in different cities: London, Paris, Venice, Singapore, and New York. And with 13 in total, this would be putting me at just under halfway through that list. But first, we had some sights to see. I don't know why I'm pulling that face. Anyway, this might sound odd, but Las Vegas reminded me of Disneyland. All the hotels were themed, and of a ridiculous scale. Everything was exceptionally clean and well looked after, and there were even recreations of world landmarks, including the Eiffel Tower, pyramids, and Venice, complete with an indoor Grand Canal. One hotel even had a ride, the Big Apple roller coaster at New York, New York, which was a ton of fun. And there were shows, from the Blue Man Group and Cirque du Soleil, which I admittedly fell asleep during because of comfy chairs and jet lag, to hotel displays such as the Bellagio fountains and very weird Caesar's Palace show. Our hotel, the Flamingo, even had real-life flamingos, lazing in the fountain to escape the desert heat. I guess it was quite a lot like Disneyland. We visited the Omega Mart, which for some reason I only filmed vertically, a weird art exhibition supermarket with bizarre products, hidden rooms, and secret passageways, and saw a show at the Sphere by one of my favourite directors, Darren Aronofsky. The Sphere itself was really quite something, made up of 1.2 million LED hockey pucks, displaying some really strange things.
What is going on?
At night, the whole place came to life with light. Dare I say it was almost as impressive as the Blackpool illuminations. It grew about 100 times busier, and the Sphere looked incredible. Oh no, it's doing that weird cat thing again. The hotels looked incredible, and the time lapses looked incredible. But the thing I love most about Las Vegas is that there were no monkeys.
Warning, foreshadowing, warning, foreshadowing.
Okay, it's time for a segment of these videos I'm calling side quests.
Visit the Grand Canyon.
We had front seats in the helicopter, which took off in the blue sky of the Nevada desert. It was wild to see this landscape from the air. It's pretty different to the UK, so it was crazy to see how barren and never-ending it was. We saw the Colorado River snaking through the rugged terrain, and saw the Hoover Dam from above, which I didn't actually realise we'd be passing and was beyond delighted to see. You can tell it wasn't me who booked this trip. Named after then President Herbert Hoover, the dam was built almost 100 years ago, is 221 metres tall, and contains over 3 million cubic metres of concrete. It's enormous, and I felt I could really appreciate the enormity from the air. I was thrilled to be seeing this. We'd now crossed the state line into Arizona, and after crossing Lake Mead, could finally spot the canyon in the distance. That flashing maxed out meter is my excitement level. Before long, the sprawling scrubland gave way to dramatic drops, and boy was it grand. The canyon was carved out by the Colorado River over many millions of years, each one distinctly documented in the layers of sedimentary rock. A smarter man than me could eloquently explain it to you, but here's a diagram I copied from the internet. Regardless, it was breathtaking. I'm not sure this footage does justice to the sheer scale and majesty of what was in front of us. The scenery was unlike anything I'd seen before, as we sunk into the near kilometre depth of the West Rim's topography, flying within the canyon itself. And soon we were coming into land. So we've just landed at the Grand Canyon.
And it's boiling hot.
The floor was so hot in fact that I could feel it through my shoes, which I later realised had partially melted, and my phone kept coming up with this temperature warning. This is a huge bucket list moment, I am so happy to be here. Apologies for the sunscreen on my front-facing camera, I'm squinting because I'd also got it in my eyes. But nothing could take away from the moment, the unadulterated magnificence of the view before us, the Grand Canyon. I don't really know how to articulate it, I'm often quite hyperbolic and exaggerative, but this really was one of the most spectacular things I've ever laid eyes on. Then we got back in the helicopter.
No, that's going in.
No, it is not.
Yes, it is.
And took off over the edge, which was admittedly slightly extremely terrifying. And as suddenly as it had begun, the canyon gave way once more to flat, descriptionless desert, and we were on our way back to Las Vegas. Okay, I've rambled long enough. I should probably build some Lego now. Stop motion is always hit and miss outdoors because of the changing light, especially since we were here at sunrise, but the set was delightful. There was the Vegas sign itself, the Bellagio Hotel complete with fountains, the Luxor Hotel and Sphinx, the Wynn Hotel, which I kind of thought was an unremarkable and odd choice, the Stratosphere, and Fremont Street. Like I said, that's now the 6th Skyline set I've built around the world, and a wonderful way to wrap up Las Vegas before immediately heading to the 7th. So I'm in Berlin with Dan, and here we've actually got 2 sets to build, another Skyline and the Brandenburg Gate. So we decided to jump straight into it. I really love these sets. They're a great introduction to a city, with the instruction booklet doubling as a guidebook. I'd be building it up the TV Tower, a 368 meter tall structure with a disco ball-like viewing platform at just over halfway. It's crazy how something can be built in the 1960s yet somehow still feel so futuristic. We caught the lift up, and after admiring the view and immediately spotting 3 other landmarks from the set, found a table to get started. As usual, it was incredibly novel to be building a building inside the real-life building, although unfortunately it was a bit too silhouette-y to get the finished shots up here, so I'd be heading down there. But I got sidetracked by something in the lobby. Check this out, they've got the whole of Berlin made out of Lego. Weirdly, the Reichstag and Brandenburg Gate are copied brick for brick from the Skyline set. Anyway, that's better. Oops. First there was a Berlin Wall which used to divide the city in 2. Remnants of it are still visible today, and I even bought a supposedly real chunk of it as a souvenir, although I have my doubts. Next was the Reichstag, a wonderfully grand building home to Germany's parliament, complete with its iconic glass dome. The Victory Column followed, with 285 spiralling steps and offering a different perspective of the city. I'm not really sure why the Deutsche Bahn Tower was included, let alone why it's a completely wrong colour, but then came the TV tower itself, and finally Brandenburg Gate, but that's got an entire set of its own we'll get to later. Until then, we visited some of Berlin's other landmarks. Obviously it's a place with a really dark and notable history, and there were reminders of that everywhere, but there are also lots of really unique and quirky things about the city. So these signs here change, I'm not sure precisely why, these places don't move. But that's cool. The manhole covers here feature the landmarks of Berlin. It says the Reichstag, the TV Tower, Brandenburg Gate, the Victory Column. These are really cool. The crossings in Germany have this character called Ample Man who tells you when it's safe to cross. Obviously if it's red you can't, but if it's green, how is that for timing? You can. There's even an entire Ample Man shop with Ample Man t-shirts, sweets, pasta, ducks, honey, teddies, socks, snow globes, and are you ready for this one? Ample Man decorated pieces of the Berlin Wall. Now there's also another beloved character, which brings us to this chapter's side quest.
Find Berlin's buddy bears.
See, Berlin's emblem is a bear. It's even on the city's flag, and there's often a bear posing with tourists near Brandenburg Gate, although I'm pretty sure it's a human in a suit. But one bear in particular has become an icon, Buddy Bear, several hundred statues of which are dotted around the city. I've just spotted one right over there. I had the idea to photograph as many as possible perfectly lined up, then play them back like a sort of flipbook. I only managed to find 17, but this is how it turned out. Pretty cool, and I'm just glad they were bears and not monkeys.
Warning, foreshadowing, warning, foreshadowing.
But I'm getting sidetracked again. Apologies. Let's build some more Lego. This is the Brandenburg Gate, perhaps Berlin's most iconic landmark. Built in the late 1700s, or I guess built in 2025 in my case, it's a neoclassical masterpiece and has become synonymous with the city. The Lego build was fairly quick and straightforward, but accurately captures its elegance. Maybe the horses are a little questionable, but they did their best given the scale. I was there first thing in the morning, and although I was very tired, it meant I had the square almost entirely to myself. I always then make a point to return later in the day and see how wildly crowded it gets, and it makes me feel warmly smug and self-satisfied. But any smugness was quickly undone by the size of the Lego store's Brandenburg Gate. Alright, it was time to leave Berlin behind, and time to head to our final stop, India. Flying in, I really didn't know what to expect. You hear lots of things about India, and I guess I was expecting the worst. Yup, there are monkeys here. But it was quite the opposite. I was here with family, and we spent the first couple of days in Delhi. Although I didn't film all that much, it was as chaotic as it was beautiful. We visited all the main sites, and it was a really great first impression of the country. I then filmed even less in Udaipur. In fact, I was so ill I barely left the hotel, but it was a very nice hotel. It wasn't until Jaipur that I really experienced India and all it had to offer. It was again very chaotic, often extremely overwhelming, But the people were genuinely lovely, even helping us cross the absolutely treacherous roads. This is a clip of me trying to cross a roundabout, for instance, and I still can't quite believe I lived to tell the tale. The architecture was stunning, the food was obviously amazing. I mean, here our food is being cooked on literal cow poo, but it tasted great. We even paid a visit to the so-called pickle man of India. The only thing I didn't like were the monkeys, and they were everywhere, on every rooftop and even scaling the electricity cables. But they kept to themselves, for now.
Warning, foreshadowing. Warning, foreshadowing.
By now we'd visited 3 different cities, and would next travel to the place I was undoubtedly most excited for, Ranthambore National Park, before finishing by visiting and of course building the Taj Mahal. These long journeys had become one of my favourite parts of India. You never quite knew what you'd see out the window next. Well, I say that, but you could always count on seeing monkeys. Sometimes alone and keeping a healthy distance, or sometimes entire families, and our driver was quick to warn us about them.
It is dangerous. They can jump sometime into the car.
There was always something to look at. I didn't get bored once. The hours passed in seemingly no time, and before long we'd arrived at Ranthambore. Which brings me to the final side quest.
See a wild tiger.
We were staying in a safari lodge, so fancy that the Queen even stayed here in the 1960s. It's without a doubt one of my favourite places I've ever stayed. This lodge is insane, so I'm going to give you a tour. Through here's the main room. I've got a fireplace, a desk, a lovely bed and a sofa, a balcony looking out on the rest of the lodge. Through here then's the bathroom, there I am, hello. 2 sinks, we've got, I guess, a makeup table. Through here's a toilet, complete with a bum gun, delightful. And then the bath and a shower. Look at that. So check this out, the trees outside the room are full of sleeping bats. In fact, there was wildlife everywhere. Bees, birds, parrots, owls, hares, chipmunks, and unfortunately monkeys. And that was just a hotel. In the morning, we'd be up at the crack of dawn to go on a safari, and fingers crossed would catch a glimpse of a wild tiger. The Jeep we'd be in didn't exactly inspire confidence, with open sides and roof. I felt a little like tiger food as we drove through the cool dawn air and entered their territory. Now, I'd never been on a safari before, but this felt like the real deal, an open-top Jeep on bumpy dirt roads in the wilderness. The sun poked through the trees in the distance, as we caught sight of our first animal, a nilgai. There were peafowl everywhere too. It seemed like everywhere we drove, another 2 or 3 scattered from the bushes. And there were also countless sambar deer. We saw kingfishers and more parrots, and even crocodiles, eerily snaking their way through the water. But the only evidence of tigers we'd seen so far were their paw prints. Almost everything here was hiding. The area is home to an abundance of animals, including leopards, sloth bears, hyenas, porcupines, and more. But I'll tell you now, we didn't see any. The hope was with the tigers, when you're at the top of the food chain, you don't need to hide. And as we rounded a corner worryingly close to a crocodile-infested lake, our luck was about to change.
Tiger. One is there, second one is there.
A pair of tigers were lounging on the far side of the lake, apparently brother and sister and only a year or 2 old. I was secretly a little disappointed at how far away they were, but it was still an amazing sight. Then suddenly their mum snuck up on us, a mere stone's throw from the Jeep. And I think I prefer them being far away. It was terrifying. There was literally nothing separating us. I asked the guide whether the tigers could get us, and he very nonchalantly said yes, but they usually don't. It wasn't very reassuring. The mum quickly slunk off, and we were back to watching the 2 across the water. I then asked the guide if the tigers swim or go in the water at all, and he once again said yes, but they usually don't. Next thing we know, one is in the water. At first it just waded around aimlessly, but with a turn of its head, headed straight towards us. It climbed out onto the bank, once again scarily close, and then walked maybe 5 or 10 meters away from the Jeep, sitting down. Hopefully this shot demonstrates just how close we were to a wild tiger, with literally nothing between us. It looked in our direction, but like the guide had said, just wasn't interested. Maybe I don't look delicious enough, but I'm certainly not complaining. And that's when we noticed the other tiger in the water, climbing out only a short distance away. The siblings greeted each other, and then split up. I think humans are easier to hunt that way. In all fairness, they really didn't care about us, sauntering lazily along the bank. They didn't even care about these birds, or maybe their adorable defensive dance was simply terrifying to a tiger. Anyway, the whole experience was wonderfully surreal, being so close to such a large, dangerous and beautiful wild animal. It was the highlight of the trip by far. I feel incredibly lucky to have experienced it. It's not something I'll ever forget. Okay, it was time to build the Taj Mahal, and I don't know if you've noticed all of my very subtle foreshadowing, but it did not go to plan. You see, the Taj Mahal is in a gated complex, and they don't let you take anything in with you, which meant unfortunately I wouldn't be able to build the Lego set at the landmark itself. That's fine, I'd simply build it here at the Safari Lodge, explain this to you, then later film the real thing. Also, when I build these sets, sometimes I film a time-lapse as I did in Berlin, sometimes I film a clicky-clacky montage like I did at the Statue of Liberty, and sometimes I film it in stop motion as I did with the Las Vegas set. To do this, I first build the set off camera, then film all the shots I need, before taking it apart brick by brick and reversing the footage, to make it look like it's building itself. And this was the plan with the Taj Mahal. I built it the night before off camera, then first thing in the morning I'd film it on my balcony before then heading to the real Taj Mahal. A pretty solid plan. Little did I know it would go catastrophically wrong. Morning arrived with the squawk of fruit bats, and just as I'd set my tripod up, a monkey appeared and immediately lunged at me. Let me just rewind to this frame right here. That's the face of pure evil. I grabbed a chair to defend myself, sort of danced with him in a circle to spin around, and managed to get safely inside my room and close the door. He was not happy about this. Like I said, this was a very, very nice hotel room, and I'm sure he wanted nothing more than to turn it upside down looking for anything he could steal.
Oh my god, why are they like this? Oh, I don't like it at all.
I've encountered monkeys all over the world, and they're basically the same everywhere. At best, they'll pickpocket you, as I saw happen to tourists in Indonesia. Or maybe they'll even wee on you, as happened to me personally in Morocco. But it's very likely they'll bite you, and that means immediate hospitalization and rabies jabs into your stomach.
For anyone who's only ever seen a monkey in a zoo, monkeys are evil. They try and steal your stuff, they bite, look at those teeth. Jeez. Oh, I was trying to film the Taj Mahal.
After checking the rest of the windows were closed, I kind of realised I was safe, and put my face right up against the glass. He didn't appreciate this.
Oh my god, the Taj Mahal is still out there. Am I even going to get to film it? Look at those teeth. Look at the hands, wow. He's trying to peel the sticker off. Scram, scram, scram.
But then he turned and jumped back to the balcony wall, heading straight for the Taj Mahal. And miraculously walked straight past it. But then a second monkey appeared, and this one was way more interested.
This guy's playing with it as well. Oh, fantastic. Please leave it alone. Oh, man. Well, that's my Taj Mahal story. This could not have gone any worse if I tried. And he's taken some of it. He's literally eating the Lego.
They both sat on the wall chewing pieces of my Taj Mahal. Then between them started systematically destroying it. The smaller monkey took the cap off the dome, and then never was seen again, while the bigger one didn't hold back.
Oh man, no, stop it. Stop it, please stop it. Oh, this is torture.
I could hardly watch, helplessly trapped in my room.
Stop it.
And he was very thorough.
Oh man.
It went on like this for a good while, and after an eternity, the big monkey finally left.
I think the coast is clear. This is what remains of my Lego set.
Many of the surviving pieces were cracked and had teeth marks.
Saving this. The top is actually intact. Oh, they did a poo, obviously. They're mocking me. This is all chewed, as is this. There's a piece here, all chewed as well. I think that's all of it. I'll try and recover what I can if there's any on the floor down there, but wow.
We eventually made it to the real Taj Mahal, and it was just as incredible as I'd always imagined. A grand monument to undying love, it was the perfect way to cap off India, and with it a wild and unpredictable adventure. I'd loved every minute of it. Well, almost every minute, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'm hoping these travel videos will come out every 2 or 3 months now, so see you next time in Egypt, Philadelphia and Iceland.